down in Florida. So we're going to get the show started today. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you from sunny South
We
Florida?
can't hear you right now. What'd you do? Okay. We're good. We're good.
Oh,
So
you
I'm
can
going to
hear me
start
now?
off. No, yeah, you're good
Okay.
now. That's great. Okay, everybody. So, okay, the stats. So what I did this morning is I did them for this morning because I know by the end of the day, the stats are going to change because it's the last day of the month and we have to. Good morning, Karen. And we're trying to stay ahead of last year. But there's not a big difference here. So I'm praying that by tomorrow morning, we'll still be ahead of the game. But today we have 7,860 available listings and 6,068 are single family homes. So we're getting lower on the availables instead of higher. So that tells you people were buying. And yesterday we had 69 closings. And 57 homes went under contract and 83 homes were listed. So what that does to our stats year to date is in 2020 year to date, we've sold 11,799 homes for an average price of $334,000. Compared to last year, we sold 11,517 homes for an average price of $318,000, which is a difference of 282 homes. We're still selling about 3 more homes a day than we did last year, which means this pandemic isn't upsetting our market. You know, this is not going to be a setback like in 2008. And like Brian Buffini was saying earlier this morning, a setback is a setup for a comeback. And even though we're not going to have necessarily a setback, we're going to have to get set up to do lots of business. And that's why we're going to have a special guest today who's going to talk about marketing, branding, and your niche. So I'm going to put the stats down here. Jimmy, do you have some words of wisdom before we get started?
Well, I think the statistics just are the antidote for fear, which which we've talked about before. I will tell you this: a lot of people have maybe. I don't want to get real religious on you, but this pastor is out for a walk, and all of a sudden this bear shows up, and the bear starts chasing this pastor, and the pastor starts praying like crazy. Lord, Lord, help me out, help me. Lord, please make this bear a Christian. Please make this bear a Christian. So the bear catches the pastor and he puts him down on the ground, and the bear looks up and says, Lord, I want to thank you for this meal I'm about to enjoy.
Oh, Jimmy, that's a good one. I don't know where you get them, but that's a good one. Oh, that's funny. Okay, everybody. Thank you, Jimmy.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to get started with Michelle. And Michelle has a beautiful website called So Boca, and she has branded herself in Boca Raton, Florida, as the go-to person for anything you want to know about Boca Raton. And can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, Michelle?
Absolutely. Hi, thanks for having me on today. I'm so excited. I love seeing you online, Ruth. You're doing a great job. And yeah, a few years ago, I decided to start a lifestyle brand called #SoBoca, and it was intentional. And then it somewhat morphed. And now I have a website. I have a big Instagram, presence between both SoBoca and the Michelle B. And I, write blog about Boca Raton, Delray Beach, Palm Beach County, and South Florida. And I have incorporated my real estate business now into the blog. Originally it was standalone. Now it's a little bit of a combination of having some real estate in there. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's definitely closed business for me, as has Instagram and YouTube. So there you go.
And how did you get your brand started? What was the biggest breakthrough you had? I think that's my question.
I'm
What
sorry,
was
you
your
cut
biggest,
out.
that's a, what was your biggest breakthrough when, you know, like we all have to have patience. Can you hear me? Okay. We all have to have patience when it comes to social media and to any kind of marketing, and especially in real estate while we cultivate the seeds we're planting.
Mhm.
So at what point did your business turn around because of what of your branding and your So Boca?
Well, I would say, you know, I started it for fun because I wanted to do something creative and I like it. And I embraced social media as a midlife, you know, mom of millennials. And I would say, you know, summer in particular, I started getting people reaching out to me through the blog. And I think that was what was an eye opener, that I could do something that I was really passionate about, and yet at the same time, it actually generated referrals for me.
And then you just kept on keeping on and you were blogging and adding more and more interest to your website. And did that cause a breakthrough of more business also? Did you see your business increase?
Yep, it did. And branding. Yep. And it's a great branding piece because hashtag SoBoca is also trademarked. So I own it. And that's been a lot of fun too. So now I have merchandise that I'm selling on the blog. Coffee cups, t-shirts. You know, it's just kind of morphing into some different scenarios, but it's a lot of fun. And when I go to events, when we were going to events, it's a great way for me to not have to say anything about where I live, which is nice.
Because
I have
everybody
a couple
knows.
quick questions. I have a couple quick questions. A friend of mine recommended a book called Brand Like a Rock Star. It was excellent. And there's another book by the Eisenberg brothers called Teaching Your Cat to Bark. And I'm wondering if there's any books that you've read that you thought, boy, this really moved my blog forward or moved my marketing ideas forward. Any books or videos that you can recommend to us?
Oh gosh. In all honesty, I follow a lot of online marketers, probably more so than anything. Marie Forleo, Amy Porterfield, people like that. I would say I probably got more branding inspiration from those types of things versus books. I like to listen to podcasts, and I like to watch YouTube videos. And so I also did B school back in 2017, and that was a great inspiration for me to start my own brand and and also start coaching a little bit more agents, in particular women who are midlife, because that's, you know, my niche basically as far as me. It's a big chunk of who follows me on my social media channels, and being able to show them how they can leverage their brand and without spending thousands of dollars. And I think that's a big piece right now because so many people are, you know, very conscious of, you know, what are we going to do? Even though the market is still, you know, still moving along, I think there's a lot of worry and cut back on expenses. And do I really need to thousands and thousands of dollars of leads? And you know, what is it that I really want in my real estate world and my life at this point? So part of it is you have to do something that's a lot of fun that also will generate, you know, business for you.
So what are some of the things that you do? What some ideas can you give to the to our fellow agents that are watching that they could do? I mean, we're in Vegas, you know, it's a household word. So do you have any ideas or thoughts about what people could do here?
For agents,
Yeah, like you, like me.
I would say, you know, when I am talking to agents about creating a personal brand, I think it's important that you come up with a branded hashtag that's unique to you, something that you can use in all of your posts And also it will curate anything that you post. And I think that's important, because then if you put out content and you hashtag it a certain way, you can always go back and look at all of your content. Plus, you can share that content with people, and I think that's fantastic. You can come up with something original that's a branded hashtag, and then you know, start looking into you know, Google searches. What are people looking for in your city, your town, your community, and start being the resource for that. I mean, basically, I turned this into being a community micro influencer. And so between real estate and working with my real estate business, I also do brand collaborations with different local companies. And so I know people talk about, you know, go be the mayor of your town. And yes, you can do that, but I think you also have to think about what your end game is with that. And how are you going to promote that, and how is that ultimately going to get business for you?
So when you say Google what people are looking for, give us an example of what you're saying. I mean, it sounds good, but if I went to Google something, what would I Google?
Things happening in, I mean, are you in Las Vegas? Subdivision of Las Vegas. Where are you at, Ruth?
I'm in Red Rock Country Club.
I'm so sorry, the audio is cutting out. So if you're in Las Vegas, I would be Googling things to do in Las Vegas, coffee shops in Las Vegas. I think a really good thing that you could do is local restaurants that are doing pickup and takeout. So I have a blog I did last week that has, I don't know how many links to local downtown Boca restaurants that are operating still. They're doing takeout, they're doing pickup, and then also talking about the nonprofits here that are providing meals, not only to the restaurant industry, but also to anyone who is having a hard time in regard to being able to afford food. So I think you can be trendy with what you're doing, but on point at the same time. And I'm a big believer in, you know, sharing the nonprofits that are also out there need some light shone on them. So I think there's some different opportunities with that. Once events become, you know, back online a little bit more, wherever someone might be living, you could certainly post about, you know, all of those things. I mean, I still have things up on my site. I'm not taking them down. 10 things to do in Boca Raton. You know, favorite coffee spots, live music. And what happened? Live music ended up becoming virtual concerts. So a lot of our local musicians are like, okay, we can't perform live at a bar, but we can do it from home. So I started sharing a post that I had done a year ago on live music locally. And I just tweaked it a little bit and said, you know, due to COVID-19, you know, we have a lot of great performances going on right now, and you can certainly tip virtually through Venmo and PayPal and Zelle and things like that. So I think, you know, if you think a little bit outside the box, a lot of agents already have blogs and things that they've worked on, but a lot is just cookie cutter stuff because it's through companies that they are working with. One of the other things I always like to say is go back and look at your Instagram posts. I consider my Instagram posts micro blogs, and you can share that, copy and paste. You know, from, if you're on the desktop, you can copy and paste what you wrote if you did it on your phone or did it through Planoly or whatever, and you can use to like micro blogs. You know, I know that there's a lot of you know, a lot of information out there about SEO and how long something should be. Well, it's about content and putting out good content. If you have a 300-word, you know, micro blog post that you did on Instagram, fluff it up a little bit and get to 500, yeah, I'm sure you can. Grab some additional pictures from Pixabay, and then voila, you know, so that you've got the SEO piece of it, and now you've got the content. This is what I always say. People have the content. Right. They go back and look at what they've done the last couple of years. Most people have content. They just aren't thinking about it.
So it sounds to me, and I hope you can hear me, Michelle, like you are not talking necessarily about the Las Vegas market. You are, or the Boca market. You're talking about what you can do in the Boca area. And I think that's where a lot of realtors need to start focusing, at least the ones that I'm seeing here in Vegas. There are a few that are focusing on events and restaurants, but there's not a lot of mayors of our city here like you've become for Boca.
Right. No, there's a couple that I know I have followed on YouTube. And a lot of times they're agents that are talking about different communities in your area, which is also great. I mean, you can talk about parks. You can talk about, I mean, honestly, all you have to do is look at your city website, and you can get categories and topics just from that. You know, look at your county website and coming up, you know, what's going to be happening. Look, we have Mother's Day coming up. Because I've been doing the blog now for just under 2 years, 4th of July posts, I have Mother's Day posts, I have Memorial Day posts. I go back in and I just repurpose them, update them, add fresh content, and I just redate it. You know, I'm not reinventing the wheel all the time.
And
Michelle,
that's
you know, Ruthie, you talked about the purple ocean the other day. And Michelle, my question for you is you're doing blogging and you're doing something on YouTube and Instagram. YouTube has maybe the biggest audience, but I'm curious, where are you getting the best traffic? But then even if you're getting a lot of traffic, where are you getting the best results? So between blogging and Instagram and YouTube, where do you actually see business coming from that's turning into transactions for you?
All of the above. I wouldn't say that one is outpacing the other, okay, but I repurpose. So if I do a YouTube video, then I can turn that into a blog post. I can break that down into Instagram posts. I can strip the audio and turn it into a podcast. Or if I decide to write something, now I have a script. I wrote something about working from home, for example, and turned that into a video that's not up yet. That's going to be up probably this week. But I was part of my toolkit. I wouldn't say that one is generating all my my business, because I also at time I have a sphere of influence and I have past clients. So, but for new people that don't know me, this has been a really cool resource. So I just had a really nice Zillow review from a client of mine that I worked with last summer, and they purchased something and then they decided to come down here from New York at the end of March and they rented something. And so my latest review is from her, and it was all, by the way, virtual. And you know, we got it done. So she found me through YouTube and my blog, because it seems like what happens is someone will find me somewhere and then they'll be like, oh, well, where else is she? And they get to know me. So I would say, you know, it's spread out a little bit.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that's so you're blogging, you're on YouTube, you're vlogging, and oh, I missed one of your favorites, Instagram.
Oh, Insta, of course, my Insta.
So
I closed a referral recently. It's Novello.
Wow. And just from Instagram?
You know Liz. Well, Liz and I met at Gary V Agent 20, and we became friendly on Instagram. And then when she had a referral down this way, she sent it to me.
How nice. Yes, networking. It's a contact sport, right?
But also being consistent on Instagram, because if you're only posting once in a blue moon and you're not doing stories, why would someone want to reach out to you? You know, this concept that all of a sudden agents are virtual. Well, where the heck have you guys been? We've been virtual. This isn't new.
Right.
I'm hearing a lot of strategies from you, Michelle, that are virtual. Our governor just announced today that he's going to rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic. He's not doing anything. He said the 15th, maybe he'll do something, but Florida is one of the quickest states to come out of all this stuff. Do you have any specific strategies that you're thinking of that are going to get you back out in from the virtual world to the real world? What are you going to do when Florida even relaxes even more?
Again, I'm so sorry. I'm having a little audio problem. Actually, Florida is, we are essential. So we can show property. So we haven't had to be completely virtual time. We actually can show, property, social distancing, masks, gloves, especially with vacant properties. So that's been a good thing. South Florida is not going to be pacing as quickly real estate business wise, because they're waiting a little longer to open up some of the restaurants and the businesses. But I mean, I'm with people right now who want to buy. I previewed a condo yesterday of someone who needs to sell. And I think, talking about niches, and this is an area that I really love and I'd like to talk about and teach, is this is the time where you want to work with people who need to sell. Someone who's going to overprice their listing or is, in my opinion, going to be overly difficult to deal with. It's just not in my wheelhouse. I just don't want to deal with that. I have some specialty areas that I really enjoy working in, and I've been doing that since the last housing market crash. And that's the base of my business.
Okay.
So you can show houses. We can't show houses here. We can do. We can show vacant houses, but like Jimmy's saying, our governor is just being so lethargic about when we can do things, and I think that's one of the, Jimmy, I don't know how you feel, but I think that's one of the worst things he could do, is not tell us and give us a date. I don't know what he's waiting for.
Yeah, his news release was insubstantial, to say the least.
I think even you had mentioned you thought he was going to open everything up on May 15th.
And he said no. He said he's extending until May 15th and he's going to keep looking at it. So it really comes down to, what are your strategies? Like you said, you can still show vacant houses. Owner occupied, they want you to show them. Tenant occupied, if they say no, you can't. So but tenant occupied properties, what is that, Ruthie? Maybe 20% of our market, of the homes on the market?
Oh yeah, 20%.
So that means 80% we can still show. They're either vacant or owner occupied. So to use the governor as an excuse, I don't want to use the governor's excuse not to do business, because you just gave us some numbers and you said how many people closed last night. 70 people closed. That's what went into the closed things, which means 140 commissions, which when you multiply that times a month, that's 4,500 closings. That's 4,500 checks for somebody.
Yeah. And I think by the end of today, it'll even be more, because this is the end of the month, and possibly even into tomorrow. So I'm encouraged, that agents are still out there doing their thing. And one of the things that we have here, and I don't know if you have in Florida, but we have had the iBuyer platforms for 2 years. And this past year, or this year, our iBuyer deals are decreasing, not increasing. And I didn't have time this morning to figure out the percentage, but I'll have that by tomorrow for you, Jimmy. I know you'll be interested in that too.
Yeah.
Because they basically aren't, they not doing business, for 4 weeks, 5 weeks now. So that's making more homes available for regular real estate agents as opposed to the iBuyer platform. So that means more agents are making money as well, and we're doing more business. So it hasn't really hurt our industry. Although if you think about it, I don't know how Florida was, but just in February, we had the best February ever. It was just an incredible month. and we felt like we were just going to have a fantastic year, and then this happened. So I don't know. Hang on, please. Karen, Karen was in Florida, Michelle, and she says that you have multiple MLSs, and that affects how you do business. Here we have one MLS, so I'm not sure how that works.
I don't know really. I mean, I know what my MLS is doing. I'm not really sure what other MLSs are doing.
But is your MLS in?
So
do you have one
still broker
one
there.
MLS?
Good morning.
So
ours is like from South Broward all the way up to like, it's pretty big. We have one of the largest MLSs in the country. So
that's good.
I think the main thing is that the community care and
let me I got a couple things I want to wrap up with. I want to thank Michelle for being on the show, and Marie Forleo I'm definitely going to look up, and the picks today I'm definitely going to look up, and the fact that you have, even though we've talked about going deep in a niche, even with that, you're still looking at blogging and YouTube and using different strategies, and your niche kind of is online, being the mayor of Boca, which I appreciate that. And the last thing I'll say is, Ruthie, we talked about this yesterday, this grandma takes her grandson to the beach in Florida, and it's a wonderful day. And so grandma's watching grandson, and he's just a little guy, and he's just running up to the waves and touching his feet in water and running back. And then he's run up and touches his feet in water and running back. And grandma's just watching him have a great time. And all of a sudden, some great big huge wave comes in, and it sweeps the grandson out into the ocean. And grandma can't swim, so she starts praying like crazy. Oh Lord, please save my grandson. Please save my grandson. I don't know what to do. I can't tell my daughter I lost her son, but save my grandson. And then another great big wave comes right back in and puts him right back on the beach with her. And she looks at him real close, and she looks up and she says, Lord, he had a hat. We might have used to have a hat. You might not have a hat, but here's the deal. Michelle has given us like 3 strategies that all we got to do is pick up on the 3 strategies. You don't need a hat. You just need to do something. And she's doing something on a regular, consistent basis. I think that's her success. And I'm going to sign off, but I'm going to tell everybody the same thing
the consistency is key. And I think also too, agents need to learn how to really list in a niche. And so they focus on our probate and seniors that downsize. And I've been doing that since 2011. And I teach it now. And the timing of it is ironic because this is what I think agents are looking for. And they're tired of, I mean, I think you get to a point, this is just my observation, like for me, I got tired of running around all the time. And listings are how you last. That's, you know, in my opinion, it's what changed my business in 2012 and got me back on my feet after a horrendous time during that time. And picking something that works well for you, you stay consistent in. And I write about my niches too. So I write about seniors downsizing, clean outs, estate sales. I have a video on my YouTube about working with probate and, you know, what the challenges are for the personal representative and the families. And, you know, what do you do? Like, do you come to Florida? Do you have to clean out? Well, no, there's a lot of things you can do. So again, you always have to be a resource. And that I've been doing tie back into the bigger picture. But at the end of the day, my base is my listing niches and then referrals I get from that influence and anything else that's in transitional real estate, including divorce. And, you know, that works really well for me.
So, Michelle, our show is just about over. Sorry we had audio difficulties. Maybe we can reunite and do this in a couple more weeks. And the audio, maybe you and I can do some tests and get your audio better, or my audio better for you, so you can hear what I'm saying.
I know. I don't know. It's a busy time of the day, so I don't know. Sometimes it's better than others, but I think I got the gist of most.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. And thanks everybody for watching. And we'll boost this out, Michelle, and hopefully get you some referrals from Vegas. That would be great.
Oh, that would be lovely. And hopefully sometime in the future, I'll be back out in Vegas. I love it out there.
Well, you need to come do a class at our training center.
Yes, yes. We will definitely talk about that.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay. Thank you, Jimmy. Thanks, everybody. And
bye, Jimmy.
Michelle, thank you so much. And you were great. And, you know, we're going to start our Be Social Savvy platform pretty soon. And we'd love to be able to share your information on it as well, because I will be advertising it all over the country and trying to make people like you and Pinky and Jimmy and myself and even Katie, who she doesn't need a lot of help, but you know, anything to help our industry. So that should be coming along in the next couple
exactly.
weeks.
Instagram, you know, Instagram is my jam. I love it, love it. I've got the two accounts, and I've been doing it for quite some time with over 18,000 followers and good engagement. And you know, I love to teach it.
Oh, and you're very prolific. You know, I'm sure people are sitting there wondering how could they it just comes out of you, and it comes out in a beautiful way, very concise, very clear, and we can all do that. It's just something we have to practice. You've done a great job, and thank you so much. And again, I'll be boosting this and talking about you. Thank you. Bye, everybody. We love you.